Carbs were my biggest enemy. My biggest enemy and my biggest challenge. Okay, they were my biggest enemy for weight loss. I had no idea. I had no idea what carbs did in my body. I mean, I did not consume copious amounts of sugar. Now, I liked my chocolate bars, my candy bars. I liked my chips a little bit. I wasn't the biggest fan of chips. I didn't mind it. But certain chocolate bars, Oh Henry, Mr. Big. If you're in Canada, there's these little chocolate candies called Smarties. But actually, I liked M&M's better. M&M's with a nut inside of it, like that way more. But I avoided sugar. I even like Skittles. But again, it's not something I just gorged on. If I did buy a bag, I'd buy one once in a while. That bag would last me quite a while. But that's not the only source of sugar. That's what I learned. Yeah, there's another source. There is another source for sugar in our diets: carbohydrates. So I guess a sugar is a carbohydrate, or it's a simpler form of a carbohydrate, though on the back of the label it's carbohydrates and then also will list sugars. So I guess they are treated differently, but in your body it isn't. You consume sugar, you consume carbohydrates, it spikes your insulin, and that spikes your weight gain, and holds on to weight like crazy. So bread, pasta, potatoes, vegetables, a lot of vegetables have carbohydrates, like broccoli. That's actually a vegetable I like. I actually like broccoli, but it has carbohydrates in it. Of course, bread and pasta, rice, even if it's whole grain, there's a huge amount of carbohydrates in whole grain wheat as there is in just white bread. It's interesting, as I was learning this, that even when you go to like say your whole food diet, and you go how do I say this, whole grain everything, you're still spiking your insulin like crazy, because what your body can digest is the carbohydrate. Can't digest the fiber. It doesn't do anything, even though fiber, as I was learning, is just long chains of some type of sugar. So I want to say cellulose. I don't know. It's some long chain of sugar that our bodies are not able to break down. There's certain bacteria that's needed, I guess, to be able to break that down. We don't have it. So when we consume whole grain something or other, that whole grain is just still sugar. And so I ate macaroni and cheese, and I did try some whole grain macaroni and cheese. Not my, I didn't dig it. I used to consume tons of whole grain bread, and the only time I ate white bread is when I went to Burger King, McDonald's, something like that, Wendy's, and of course the bun is going to be a white bread. And I mean, aside from the pastas, I mean, I love my fries. Love my fries. Not the chips so much, but potatoes, baked, mashed potatoes, and fries. And all of that just turns into sugar. And this is what I learned, is that sugar, all that happens with sugar in your body, because your body already produces all the sugar it's going to need. Sorry for constantly going out of frame, but your body produces all the sugar it's ever going to need. It produces glucose, and it does it through fiddlesticks. I forget the word. I want to say neogenesis, but I'm probably wrong on that word. But your body produces in the liver from fat, and probably another compound, I don't know, all the glucose you'll ever need. So anytime you ingest sugar, it spikes your insulin, and your body then has to store all that sugar away as fat. And so if you're trying to lose weight, the worst thing you can do is ingest carbohydrates and ingest carbohydrates, because it retards the process that you're trying to take advantage of, your body's ability to use all that fat tissue. It's not just energy. It's actually a tissue. Your body uses fat for all kinds of things. Cellular building and muscle building and a hormone construction or production. Yeah, fat is actually really essential for the body. So when I consume carbohydrates, I just create more tissue. The very thing I'm trying to get rid of. I cut it out. I cut out the carbohydrates. And I went cold turkey. And I lost a lot of weight doing that. I did. I lost so much fat getting the carbohydrates out of my diet. And I never would have guessed it. I never would have predicted that I would lose weight by cutting that out, but not reducing the amount of food I ate. Just changed it. I've now stayed off of carbohydrates primarily for 2 years, 2.5 years. Now, I should say I've primarily stayed off of carbohydrates for 2.5 years. I have done some compromising. Hence, after 2.5 years, I still have a bit of a belly. Grr! Or should I do it like this so you can see my face at my belly? I shouldn't have compromised because it makes things take longer. You know, when you don't do your homework at school, it takes longer to get through the class. It takes longer to graduate. Those kind of things. It just compromise has its place, and compromise is necessary because I had to compromise in order to adopt this diet. I had to compromise significantly, and I did. I got compromised on having some of my favorite food. I love sandwiches, love burgers. I love fries with cheese and gravy, or a baked potato, cheese, gravy, Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna be tempting everybody. I love that stuff, but I'd compromise, and I had to find a new love. I had to find a new love with food that hadn't been so produced. You know, I had to compromise my want of immediate satisfaction or gratification. That's actually a better way. Immediate gratification and delay for future satisfaction. I used to weigh 220 pounds. I used to be 52 pounds heavier than I am now. And I like it. I like this. I had to wait for this though. I can now bend down and reach for things real easy. My stomach doesn't get in the way. My back isn't sore like crazy. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. But I had to let go of them carbohydrates. I had to learn a new way of eating, a better way of eating. I recommend getting rid of them carbohydrates. Find out where they are. Do some real studying and real learning as I try to grab my selfie stick here without stumbling over the handle. I really recommend it. Get rid of them carbohydrates. I think you'll be impressed with what it does. Though, I do recommend going a little bit slow. It take a month to get rid of carbohydrates because your body might rebel a little bit and have a tantrum because we are addicted. I thank you for watching. I hope you have an amazing day. May you have success that's meaningful for you. God bless you. I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.